3, 2, 1.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
I did it really close to the mic this time.
Nice.
It was fine, your last one. I know you
Well,
thought your clap was quiet, but I
Well,
edited
the
it.
waveform was like this, and now it's like this. So
Whoa.
it's
Oh, damn.
like, right? Just take
No,
this
it's
pill
not about
after
the
8
size
weeks.
of the waveform.
You both went right to dick so fast.
Look, when you're comparing the size of something and it goes from this to this, there's literally only one thing that it can be.
Could be the baby.
Doesn't happen that fast.
After 8 weeks, this baby, this quick. Oh, man. All right.
Anyway, you're both done being gross.
You betcha. Well, for now. About this one specific thing, yes.
Hello, lore heads, and welcome to the League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
Today we're talking about the Winter's Wrath Sejuani, who was released January 17th, 2012.
Mm-hmm. And
It's easy to forget she's so old.
I know,
She's old.
right?
Yeah.
And she was introduced way before she became a champion. They were like talking about those three sisters well before she joined the league. For this episode today, we have a very special guest, who is the reason for joining this episode should be obvious, but joining us today is Sejuani's baby daddy.
That's the name on the Patreon.
Yeah. Or Randy. So hello, Randy.
Hello.
So other than having, the best name for this episode, what made you want to join us for Sedge?
I just think she has really interesting lore and also the name.
Now, did you
That
have the name originally, or did you change your name
Right.
after you decided to join?
No, I had the name. I've had it for over a year now. It shortly before Sejuani Baby Daddy, it was Rek'Sai Baby Daddy. But I was on like a whole baby daddy kick after I found out that I was gonna have a kid.
Oh.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So thank you. And then
They're Poppy's age,
Who's
for the record.
Who's the mother, Rek'Sai or Sejuani?
We don't know. It's just...
I would say it's anyone's guess. But
I feel like it should be obvious looking at the baby.
but yeah, it's been Sejuani's baby daddy for over a year now, and that's just what I've kept it as, and I've kept it for that's what people know me as in like the amateur gold leagues and in the league cast Discord. So
Nice.
yeah.
It's a good fucking name. When you got that good summoner name, you hold on to it.
I just say, and
you
I
just don't ever let it go.
and I changed it to my stream name too, so that's what my
Nice.
yeah
Hell yeah.
Now it's your brand.
Hell yeah.
yeah.
So we'll let you lead then. What does Sejuani sound like?
All right. Fight or make room for those who will. I can't. I tried to
Nice.
make
No,
it.
that was good.
Yeah.
I like it. It's like Sejuani by way of Jax almost.
Yeah.
I like it.
Said Jack
I'm not gonna be any
Sawani.
better. What does she say? She says, deeds, not words.
What, not words?
Deeds.
Oh, D. I thought he said
Deeds,
bees?
nuts.
I thought he said D's, and then I thought he was gonna say D's nuts for like a solid second because the deeds was really dragged
Deeds
out.
nut words.
Deeds, nut words.
Deeds, nuts.
D's nuts. That was my Sejuani impression. Here, God, I just listened to her. You own what you take.
Oh, that was good.
That was good.
Thank
That
you.
was a good one.
A gift from the Freljord.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I really walked all over yours.
Yeah,
She's
well,
trying
fuck
to
me,
be.
I
She's
guess.
like, oh no, he's too good. I gotta fuck it up.
Yeah.
He's making me look bad. I'm just a fucking mess. I'm really sorry. You knew this when you married me, and I fell down the aisle on the way. No. That would have been great. On the Right Universe page, she has a bio. Just one short story is linked. What?
No, I'm shaking my head at the pitiful state of her universe page.
Yeah, it's really bad. And then there's a video, Enter the Freljord, which is important, but also she's got another video maybe that you should link there.
They have she has 2 stories on Universe, including her own color story.
Oh yeah, the color story is not
here. She has a comic on Universe that is not linked here. They have The Call that is not linked here. And the video they did link here isn't even really canon anymore.
Yeah. You gotta love it. You gotta love when you hit the end of the bio and it's like, go read Sejuani's story, and it's something that you did not see on the previous page. It's like, hey, I wonder where we are now, huh?
Where have I gone to? I need to search the address bar.
Right?
Gotta love it. You know what's great about that too is that like The Call and was it Dead of Winter?
Yeah.
Those are really new stories.
Yes.
The Udyr story, the whatever, I cannot remember the names of any of these fucking stories.
They're all very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. But the one with Udyr, like that's for his rework, which was really fucking new too. Mm-hmm. It's again, they're phasing out Universe page. They just pretend that it doesn't exist. Well, I guess that one's on there now that I think about it. God, I can't even keep track of what's linked on Universe. You have to fucking ignore
They're
me.
all on Universe, whether or not they're linked or not.
Yeah, that's what I should say.
Yeah, and that one leads right into the Dead of Winter too. Like they specifically reference shit that happens in that story. Which when we read Dead of Winter and hadn't read that story, I was like, the fuck are they talking about?
I just skimmed all the Sejuani shit because we did it for like Olaf in the call reaction. I was like, we'll just do this when we get to Sej. Now it's like, oh, okay, this all makes sense.
It's all coming together.
I'm kind of glad I didn't read it before because I would have been, super confused, right? Oh, well.
Now, did you read, out of curiosity, Randy, did you read just what was on Universe, or did you read just what was linked, or did you read like all the shit?
Okay, so I did not see the Dead of Winter exists. I don't know how, but I did not see the Dead of Winter exists. I did read Silence for the Damned, but only because it is at the end of Warmother, which I own.
Oh, nice. You got the physical copy?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
That's pretty dope.
Okay,
Nice.
that's pretty cool.
That's good shit.
And
Are you going to
it's
show it
right
up?
there.
He's got it right there.
Ooh, hell
He's got props.
yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. I want it.
I also have the Realms of Runeterra book. I was about to read the other story in there, or the story in here that's about the Winter's Claw. I didn't know if Sejuani was mentioned in it or not.
I didn't see her linked on the wiki. I have it sitting back there too. At some point, if we get past all the champions, that would be a good thing to go look at. Because I have big questions about what the fuck's happening with the Winter's Claw. They're all over the fucking place.
Right?
Yeah. Even in the stories that we've gotten, they have like different reasons, like motivations for them.
I was also keeping a number tracker. Whenever they talked about the size of her armies, it's like, what the fuck happened between these stories?
Thousands
Theories.
of people and then 30.
Yeah. That's cool though. How you like the physical copy? Can I ask? Because I think that's the first time we've I didn't even realize that they had physical prints. I will say. Like, are you a comic book guy?
No, I am not. I just saw that there was a league comment in physical form that had Sejuani in it.
That's
There you
fair.
There you fucking go.
I started playing Sejuani more like 2-ish years ago, and then it was shortly after her rework rework is when I was getting back into her.
I was gonna ask if you were like a big fan of the OG or like post rework, that type of thing too.
I don't actually remember a whole lot of it. I didn't play her a whole lot before she got reworked. I played her some. I definitely remember the swing and the flail around.
Swinging the flail, swinging the flail. Yeah.
Just helicoptering that shit.
All right, we want to do the bio then?
All right,
Hell yeah.
bio.
By Odin Austin Schaefer.
Okay, this was like a shockingly short bio with so much shit.
It's dead.
I have longer notes than almost any other bio, even though it's like half the size.
It's dense.
It is. All right, so Sejuani was a normal kid in the Freljord. Her mother was named Kalkia and was an Iceborn warrior and the Warmother of the Winter's Claw.
I like that you pronounce it like that because in my head that's not how I read it, and your way definitely doesn't lend itself as well to funny names as My Way did.
So how did you pronounce that one?
I thought it was like caulkia, like
Why?
caulking,
Sure.
because it's kind of spelled the same except without the U.
That is kind of how I read it. Was Kalkia. Yeah.
It's probably that. I'm probably just bad. I don't know.
I like Kalkia better.
Kalkia. Anyway.
Otherwise, I'm going to say Kakia.
Anyway, Cock was... She married for political purposes, had Sejuani, and then dipped to go find her old lover from, like, years ago. I was very curious about this because she's the Warmother. I get that no one, like, made her do that, right? Like, the Warmother. She didn't have to marry for political reasons.
I guess. It's a good... Who knows? Honestly, right?
Yes.
No.
Anyway, Sejuani ended up being raised by her grandmother. Where's her dad? Who knows? Doesn't matter. We never learned about that guy. I cannot pronounce her grandmother's name. John, what dirty way did you pronounce?
Oh, okay. Falloppia.
John. It's not even remotely close
You took the joke
to
from
her
my brain, you
name.
motherfucker.
It's going to be specifically Fallopia?
I didn't even know which name you were talking about.
Oh.
Fulvian.
Which one was it? Greenna or the other
No,
one?
it begins with...
No,
What's her
her-
name? Aegean?
Grandma.
Aegean?
Yeah,
Hey,
Edgin.
I thought it was
Edgin.
I thought it was a soft J because like
Sorry.
God, Rebecca's dying over there.
He said Edgin. Yeah, okay, they just didn't hear your really good joke. That was the problem.
I thought it was a soft J because like Freljord be like hey Ian.
Hayen?
Hayen.
That's a fun
Hey
name.
Ian.
Hayen! Hayen! That's how they all greet her.
It's a much funner name than the person sounds. We'll say that way.
Hayen's a real piece of work. So I'll say that. Hayen, she had no time for her dumbass grandkid, honestly. So Sejuani had to learn about love from the Avarosan neighbors. She met Ash there, and they were besties for a little while. She also loved Ash's mom, Grenna, because apparently Grenna beat Sejuani's mom up once.
I love that.
I know, I really like that detail. She found out that Grenna beat her mom's ass, and she was like, man, you're cool as hell. Be my friend. Be my new mom, please. Anyway, Grenna went to the Winter's Claw one day, though, and questioned Hayen about how she treats Sejuani. This pissed off Hayen, and she threw a little bitch fit and cut off the Avarosans completely, and then just started fighting all their neighbors.
Right?
This was a very weird turn. I don't know if we need to know more about I'm complaining about it. I don't understand this motivation.
Fuck your neighbors.
Right?
She just started all these wars that completely tear the tribe apart because someone was like, can you please be nicer to your grandkid?
Right? Someone commented on our Facebook post and it's like, blot. Get the fuck out of here.
Calling the police. Anyway, this went badly, and Kalkia heard all about how much her old tribe sucks now. So she found them again and kicked her mom out of being the Warmother. Did she abandon a new family for this? Who knows?
Probably.
She just had a baby over there, and then she's like,
I'm not dealing with this shit. I hear Sejuani's like 15. They can take care of themselves at that point. I'm back.
You know what? As people who have babies, yes.
I'm not changing any fucking diapers. It's cold.
No, it sucks. It's cold. The poop freezes the second I open that diaper.
We'll
Gotta
poop
chip
the
it off.
I'm real sorry about the turn that just took. Kalkia sucks at it too, though, I guess, being the Warmother. Because she ends up turning to the Frost Guard for protection. Sejuani. I keep calling her Sejuani, and then in the video, that's Sejuani.
Oh, like it rolls more.
Yeah, I keep saying Sejuani.
Sejuani. Yeah, there's something about...
Sejuani.
I think that video is just wrong. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay,
I don't
thank
think I've
God.
ever heard it said like that.
Half the time I just say Sejuani.
Sejuani. Oh, that's
like
like your
that.
pet name for her, though. You know, it's different. Sejuani. Anyway, Sejuani thought this was horseshit, so she decided to raid a Noxian warship, hoping to rally people in her tribe on her side so she can like overthrow her mom. This is where Sejuani met her Druvask, Bristle, her big piggy.
Who we've just been calling a boar like fucking idiots.
Fuck us, right?
I know. They're BFFLs now. Because the raid went well, Sejuani challenged her mom to a duel. The Frostguard got involved, though, before they could duel, and Kalkia just died.
I was so confused about this.
This is really brushed over.
Yeah, like...
It's like in the scuffle. Like,
What scuffle?
Oops.
Describe the scuffle. It's so short.
It said, and it said that she died... The Frostguard went to intervene because they didn't want Sejuani to fight Kalkia, and somehow, before Sejuani could get to Kalkia, they did something that killed Kalkia. Like, I don't know what the fuck they were intending to do, but they really messed up.
Get under my shield! Oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
I just beat her with the shield. Was I not supposed to do that? She's safe now.
My work here is done.
I did it, everyone. Anyway, it was a little bit more. Sejuani became the new Warmother. She's out to absorb smaller tribes now, especially trying to mess up the ones that Ash has been helping. She's real pissed because Ash's mom did something that had nothing to do with her. So, now she has to destroy all of Ash's tribes. Sejuani...
Ash just like, oh, by the way, also fuck Ash. It's like at the very end.
Yeah, I mean, in the last sentence is kind of about how she's like, she thinks she's the best one to lead the Freljord, which is what I always thought their disagreement was about, which is way more interesting to me that they both have varying or conflicting ideas of how to strengthen their home. That makes sense to me. But in this bio, it makes it sound like she's mad at Ash for like some like family drama.
Yeah, like we do get way more about it in the comic, but yeah it's definitely iced over.
Iced over. Yeah.
It's okay. If it's true ice, we just need a slightly warmer river, and it'll just be destroyed.
Apparently.
We'll get to that story soon. Anyway, that's Sejuani's bio. How are we feeling?
That's Sejuani.
I think the thing we've kind of been talking around is that, like, there's a lot of shit that happens in here that is, like, just apropos nothing and just no explanation and just kind of, oop, I guess that happened. She hates Ash. Kalkia dies. Kalkia comes back. Heian fucks up. It's like one sentence and then there it is.
Yeah.
It's just gone. And for like you said, it's really dense. 400 more words, maybe, just kind of fill some of this out a little bit.
Yeah.
That was a big takeaway I had from it. I do like the kind of trailer trash Vikings type situation we got going on, where it is like the mom, grandma, like the mom went to go live with her Idaho family or whatever. She's raised by her grandma, and they go and visit the rich cousins who are the Averrosens, and then they like have a big, like families where it's like, oh, this part of the family doesn't talk to that part of the family because aunt, whatever said whatever. It's got a lot of that going on.
It's a real Tanya Harding situation.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know shit about her except for the whole crowbar thing. That whole thing.
Well, first of all, watch I, Tanya, because it's great.
What do you think about it, Randy?
Basically all I had was, of course, she has one of the biggest Druvask ever. Because, of course, she does.
Yeah, they did mention that. It's like, little did she know that this would grow to be the biggest one.
Also, she calls it a boar, like, repeatedly, in her quotes.
So, you know what?
Yeah,
it's not
fuck
on
you,
us.
Sejuani.
Yeah. It's not our fault.
I would love it if like a little riot producer ran in a story and was like, actually, it's Druvask. Can you please start saying this? I forgot your lines, Sejuani.
We can't say
Can we
boar.
go back and edit it? No, we're not going to do that. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
That's fine.
Can you change it on Universe? We can't change anything on Universe. Okay, okay.
Someone lost
one
the
has
admin
the
password
password.
4 years ago.
Can't edit anything once Universe is on there. You can only add things.
Right. And only rarely.
That explains a lot. Honestly, that's why they're so hesitant to link anything. It's like once it's here, it's linked forever, right?
Do you think the code is like somehow tangled into the client and they just can't fix either of them?
I mean, I'll give you a little peek behind the curtain here. This might work a little differently, but one of the last projects we worked on before I left Riot was revamping the new player website. And that was not Riot code, or website. Like, basically, we worked with a third-party company and was like, these are the changes we want to make. Here's the videos we want to put up there. And, they did that. So, I mean, I don't know if they do the same thing for Universe or not. I'm sure they've come a long way since I left. But, they just, didn't even edit their own website code.
I do like the idea that someone's like, okay, I can link the story, but it will delete Yorick from the game. I'm just going to tell you right now.
That's one of those things where it's win-win.
It's got to be someone more popular, someone who makes them a lot of money. We need 3 Lux skins a year. We can't erase Lux from the game.
I say it's not like they'll mention Yorick for anything other than a quick, oh, Yorick's here, and then that.
Yeah.
Hey, he
also, he was Ruination too.
Yeah, Ruination, by the way.
Man, I would like to know more about Kaguya, because she's such a big figure in Sejuani's life. But I will say I almost kind of like only seeing her from Sejuani's perspective, because it's it doesn't matter, from Sejuani's perspective, the perspective of the child. It doesn't matter what your personal things are and what's going on with your family. The fact is that you left and you fucking abandoned us and you came back and continued to fuck shit up, and that's all that matters to Sejuani. So I kind of I can be swayed to not knowing more about Kaguya. You know what I mean?
I do love, and we'll get into this in the comic more too, but I do love specifically how Sejuani talks about Kaguya in the comic, especially before the reveal that the Warmother is her mom, because they don't reveal that at first. It's just oh yeah, our Warmother sucks. Fucking coward.
Yeah.
A southern cow with a belly full of meat. Jeez.
With her legs spread open.
Legs open, belly full of meat. Yeah.
She doesn't
and then they finally introduce her, and it's like, oh, hey, mom.
First of all, she sounds like she's living her best life.
Right? Fucking living the dream.
Belly full of meat with my legs spread open.
Meat,
Go.
hun.
Meat and meat.
Well, either way, really. Something else is full of meat.
You think I'm picking one?
That would be close.
So what did we think was next chronologically?
I guess technically Warmother is before all this is kind
That's
of
true.
Before and after, but
yeah, we can do Warmother. We can do Warmother next.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this since Ash.
It's been
God.
It's been a fucking minute, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Man. All right, so I did not have the credits for this. I wrote down all the others because they're by one person, and this has a whole slew of credits. We said it in the Ash episode. I'll add a postscript. I'll tweet
credits by lots of folks.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on it. I don't actually know if Odin Austin Schaefer did the writing in this. It would be.
I was going to say we've got a physical copy if you wanted to read off the credits.
I would say the credits are. It actually does not say. I could not. Oh no. Okay. So Odin Austin Schaefer did write it, and then the artists are Nina Vakuva. Layouts by Peter Gross, Chris Blythe, and those are the 4 names I have on the front.
Okay.
Nice.
And then there's a bunch of other names for artists and editors.
Sure. Maybe I don't know. We'll throw something in a postscript, but
yeah,
probably not.
I could send you the list.
No, probably not. I'll tweet it later. I'll add a reply to when we post it. Anyway, so like we said, this is mostly about Ash. The first 2 issues are. Sejuani is not in, but she kind of shows up in the back half of it. The context right now is that Ash's tribe has completely collapsed, and it's really just her left. Grinna has done some crazy shit, and Ash is kind of wandering out, and she runs into this person who helps her kill some big ice worm, and it's Sejuani. Hey, I remember you. We were besties growing up, and it's been 5 years, but how you doing, girl? But then they have to get the fuck out because the Ursine are coming. They get the fuck out. They are going back to the Winter's Claw, and they reconnect, and they are super besties kind of again over the course of a week or 2. I don't know. And they're getting back, and like you were saying, Sejuani is like, our Warmother sucks. You need to get out and start giving people food immediately so you don't get killed. And then the Warmother shows up, and it turns out it's Kalkia, and her and Sejuani are completely at odds. And on top of that, the Frost Priests, who are they're like the Frost Guard kind of mystics or whatever. They're embedded in all the different tribes, and it's Lysandra, it's got her fingers in the pie, are there and are kind of, they're kind of running shit surreptitiously a little bit, and they seem to want to kill Ash and eventually kill Sejuani. They want to take control of the whole situation. So there's a lot of tension in the whole thing. That night, Ash is welcome for the time being, but the Winter's Claw is starving. They're facing a huge food issue, so Ash knows that by the next day they're not going to like me. Sejuani's trying to argue with her mom to accept Ash, and no, she helped. Look, she brought in this, but Kalkia is not fucking having it. Kalkia is she's kind of a lush. She's just drinking all the time, or talking about how oh, we don't need to fight right now. We've got a bunch of mead, so don't worry about it. And eventually, the Frost Priests try to kind of confront Ash and kill her, but Sejuani kind of steps in and says, nope, she's going to be my battle sister, and we're going to be like this. We're going to be essentially adopted sisters. And they do that, but Sejuani is also planning a little something. Sejuani is planning a secret raid that is not given the thumbs up by Kalkia, and she needs Ash because otherwise they won't have enough fighters to do it. Ash comes along, and what's going on is that they're going to attack an ally. They're going to be Oathbreakers, and they're going to take all their shit, and that way Sejuani will get the stuff she needs. She'll start building, coalescing a power base within the Winter's Claw, and it will lead to her being able to challenge Kalkia for control of the tribe. And Ash is super not down with it. But the raid starts. They start killing all these people. I don't remember I didn't write down what the name of the tribe was. Doesn't matter. But they're at the Winter's Claw's mercy, and Ash steps in to save them, and so Ash and Sejuani have a big fight and confrontation, where Ash is sort of no, we need to protect these people, life's a life, it doesn't matter if they're iceborn or whatever, and Sejuani is sort of no, this is what needs to get done. We live, they die, I get control of the Winter's Claw, etc. Sejuani lets Ash go eventually. Ash is kind of given reign over the survivors of this tribe or whatever. But Sejuani is very clear that if we meet again, it's going to be his enemies, and that's kind of how they end up splitting things. And that's essentially what the bio super glosses over, is this whole exchange.
Yeah,
and that's really it. I think that's all I have down, unless I missed anything else about that.
Yeah,
that's a high level anyway.
Check my notes.
I was going to say, were you looking up the tribe name?
Yeah, so the tribe name was Urbital, and I would say she specifically says that the tribe was basically like a parasite for them. They were just leeching resources off of them, off of the Winter's Claw, and that's why they were going after them specifically. Yeah.
Now, it's interesting that they were like, Ash, there's no way we can do this without you. We need you. But, Ash actively worked against them, and they still did it.
Yeah.
So it feels like maybe she didn't need to be there at all. They could have avoided this whole thing.
I would say it honestly looked like half the tribe was just kids, so.
Right? They would have been easy to kill.
Kids are easy to kill. The logic tracks. But, yeah, it's a fair point. I don't know. Maybe if there was something here where, some people of the Winter's Claw sort of died, or there were more complications from Ash not going along with it. Maybe something that would make Ash feel a little more guilt about it. Because right now, in this specific story, Sejuani's super duper in the wrong. She doesn't really come off as it's really hard for me at least to sympathize with her. It's I get that this helps you personally, but you are literally rounding up children to then kill them. You know what I mean?
Right. It's tough person to support there. I mean, and I guess technically it's this is a story about Ash, so I get it, but I would have liked a little bit more nuance, maybe. A little more gray area in this kerfuffle.
Yeah, I guess I'm open to Sejuani being a villain. I think that even if I get super big Darius vibes from her, broadly speaking, where it's like someone who, even though you can kind of maybe like them on a little personal level or sympathize with where they're coming from almost, you can still understand that what they're doing is wrong at the core of it, you know, and they're taking these wrong actions, and you kind of hope that they'll change their ways and maybe become like a better, you know, and that's what I would guess. Spoiler, I'd like to see for Sejuani in future stories would be to see her kind of take a more heroic turn. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But
there's a few interesting things here I think this comic set up too. So one, we meet someone for the first time in this comic that will then show up again in Dead of Winter.
mm-hmm.
Who I wrote down his name in Dead of Winter, but okay, it is Urkath.
Fuck.
He's just
I also had
everywhere
a-
in the Freljord.
Yeah.
So yeah, he works with Sejuani on this raid. It's kind of implied that they're like, you know, an item, or like, you know, maybe going to be an item at this point. He's interested. Maybe she's not interested back.
I thought it was more just like he was like, hey, what's the line he says? Did you change your mind about my long sword?
Yeah,
It's just like
he
the only
did.
thing smaller than your sword is your brain or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Yep.
I assume she was kind of rebuffing his advances more than anything.
Yeah. Or, you know, that's just how they flirt. You know, the Freljord.
It's damn, you gotta have some game.
Yeah.
Working up in the north, man. Shit.
Now, the other interesting tidbit that's established here, and you're going to have to correct me if I'm misremembering this, but when they're running away from the Ursine, because when they kill that frostworm, they like cut the meat off, but they actually killed it in an Ursine hunting ground, which is strictly forbidden. And then the Ursine are after them, and they have to run away. And they say that the Ursine do not cross flowing water. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, in the short story, didn't they specifically call on the Ursine to attack the village that was across the river?
I don't remember. It's hard because there is a story that is specifically her like color story is about crossing a river, and
Yeah.
then the other one I don't remember there being a river.
I'm looking at it right now.
Are you doing a word find for river, stream, any shit like that? I do like that detail because the Ursine are fucking cool. That's the thing I've learned from Sejuani the most is that Sejuani's cool, Udir's cooler, the Ursine and Voltaire are the fucking coolest. Can I just say?
Cool. I could not wait to get to
So
Udir after
fucking
reading that
cool.
short story.
Even in the comic, it's cool because like the depiction of them art-wise in the comic is like you don't see them. It's like a storm that has just these weird figures in it. I can't put it to words, but it's very cool. No, go ahead.
So what I'm reading right now, she does specifically say, what clan or tribe do I know stronger than the Ursine? How many of us would die crossing that river without their help in Silence for the Damned? But I think how it goes is what they were chased by was the Lost, which is like the spirits of the people, not necessarily the bodies. So the spirits can't cross, but the bodies can.
Gotcha. Okay, I can dig
That's
that.
interesting. I'm open to that.
Yeah,
It's hard
yeah.
because the Ursine are all about like these sort of mortal vessels that are like corrupted by like these in this spirit. I don't know. The Ursine are fucking cool, man.
Right?
I won't talk too much
we
about
better
them.
get all sorts of Ursine shit when we get to Udir. Like,
Yeah, I think
and
we will.
We need Ursine story. Like, we need
I need
more
Ursine hoodies. I need Ursine comics.
I need a stuffy.
Ursine the breakfast cereal.
If the
But-
Freljord's not bad enough, they just have like thunder bears in the sky too.
Right?
This place
Like this weird
sucks.
body horror. It does suck.
Yeah.
But,
top place I wouldn't want to live. Followed closely by Shurima.
Shurima, that's tough though.
They're
'cause
both bad.
Shurima's
It's so
got the
hot,
land
you
of
know,
don't, if you
it's-
walk across it, you'll get eaten.
Then
It's
I don't
also
have
not
to walk
good.
across it.
Sure.
You know something else they kind of set up in that I thought was interesting is so they're running away from the Ursine, and Ash doesn't like know that they're coming, but Sejuani does, and Sejuani's like, can't you hear it? This sort of silent rage that like you don't hear it like audibly with your ears, but it just rings in your head. And I thought that was kind of neat that Ash didn't, but Sejuani does. and maybe that's just like, I don't know if that's that she's more connected with it, or if something that like just more easily affects her, which we will see in other stories. She is affected by this sort of, with the earth sign, there's like this sort of like psychological like contagion or emotional contagion that they sort of affect people around them with. And Sejuani hears it and feels it way earlier than Ash does. Ash eventually does, but I thought that was a neat detail.
Ash doesn't have the rage that Sejuani does.
I do have a theory about that.
Ooh, all right.
From what it seemed, this was not Sejuani's first rodeo in the Forbidden Hunting Grounds. So I feel like
she was already there.
I would say
she knew she wasn't supposed
Ash
to be.
was
She
like
was there anyway.
super conscious of where she was, and she was like, "Oh, I am in the Forbidden Hunting Grounds. This is not good." And then Sejuani's just there, like, "Yeah, weird seeing you here."
This is Tuesday for me.
Yeah. So I feel like she had been on the land more, so that's probably why she heard it first. She was more connected to it. Yeah.
I'm curious if if that's why it was easier for her to build such a strong connection with Bristle too, because it's like they kind of have a stronger mental connection. It definitely seems like that earth sign influence seems to open your mind a bit more to animal shit.
I like it a lot. That super lines up, because as we'll kind of talk about maybe a little in the one with Udyr, like he's like a complete like he's constantly hearing animal thoughts in his fucking head. I love that theory a lot. That's super fucking cool. You know what makes me think of a little, this whole thing is like, you remember Indoctrination from like Mass Effect, for example, where it's like the more time you spend around Reapers and shit like that, it just kind of constantly is twisting your brain more and more towards, you know, agreeing with them or being kind of converted to them. So yeah, I think like you said, Randy, like her having spent more time in that hunting ground, yeah, she's probably starting to build up a little corruption in there, you know? Her corruption meter is not zero, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I don't know, I thought it was cool. There's a lot of stuff. I like that little details, like her mom has the helmet that Sejuani wears, but the horns are intact. And Sejuani, as we see, one of them is broken now. I was like, that's a neat little visual Easter egg. I don't know. I like it.
I don't know if they ever get specifically into what happened there, but I do love to think of like Sejuani beating her mom in combat, like ripping one of the horns off, and that's just what she drinks out of now.
Oh, that would be
like,
pretty
fuck
fucking
you,
cool.
Mom.
That would be pretty fucking cool. It's the closest thing to drinking from her skull without actually having the skull. But
If only we knew what happened in the scuffle.
Right. And
like
then
a
the scuffle happened.
It's like in like a Tom and Jerry cartoon where there's just a big cloud and you just see like stars and like arms and legs flying out. Shit. But you know what else I really like in this is the moment where Sejuani and Ash are fighting, and Sejuani is talking about like what it was like seeing Ash grow up with Grenna as a mom. Because compared to Kalkia, where like she's like, Grenna did everything for you. She had 10 husbands. They're called like Oathsworn or something like that. I don't remember. And they were all just to protect you and train you. And she gave you fucking everything. And this is how you ended up. You know, it's like, man, this feels really like, I just really dig this in terms of like the character, kind of their perspectives clashing, you know? It's like, yeah, of course Sejuani feels this almost like resentment towards Ash. It's like, you've got everything. And you just sit here and you want to protect these fucks. I got nothing, you know? I love it. I love that type of shit. I'm into it.
She's a therapist real bad.
Fucking everyone in the League of Legends universe does.
Everyone in Runeterra, really.
I say someone needs to open that up. That's an open market right there. Yeah.
It's
Better help you listening. You just make so much money.
Do you remember like the old ass Journal of Justice article where we were? I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
We were talking about how, like all the champions have psychological counseling because of the fact they're constantly dying on the Institute of War.
Yeah. Let's bring that back.
That back. Yeah,
it's the one good thing they had in the old lore.
Great healthcare system, let me tell you. Yeah.
So speaking of, I was gonna say, speaking of the all that shit that happened, we want to go for Silence of the Damned next.
Sure.
I kind of thought Death Knot might be before that. It's hard to say.
Actually,
Death Knot can be anywhere.
I'm pretty sure in canon, Death Knot is actually the story where Sejuani dies. Just based on the description of the battle they had, I don't think she gets out of that one, and they cut off before
worry,
it. But I'm pretty sure she died there.
Nah, she's the main
She's a League
character.
of
She's fine.
Legends champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Unless your name is Gangplank, you're not ever gonna fucking die. You're fine.
He didn't even really die. Even Viego, they're like, oh, we'll just tie him up.
You don't do that
This'll be
again.
fine.
You don't do that again, Viego. Bad
He's
boy.
like, oh man.
Sorry.
We can do Silence of the Damned if you want. It's fine. It's by Odin Austin Schaefer. It's mostly an Udyr story. I will say I skimmed more the Udyr stuff because he does come off super cool. I'm super excited about reading his lore from this.
Yeah.
The setup as I have it down was that Sejuani and the Winter's Claw are about to attack a big city, almost something that's a really big target, and
New
they're
York
kind of,
City.
"Yeah, we're here. I want to see the mayor." And, we're about to attack Manhattan. I don't fucking know, man. I don't know what a city is in the Freljord. They're gonna attack it. They're kind
It's
of
more
it
than
seems
12 people.
Right. They're constantly starving, and this is another situation where they're kind of like they're starving, and that's why they're planning on doing this. And Sejuani is convinced she needs the help of the Earth Sign, and Udyr is constantly kind of trying to tell her no. But she commits to calling the Earth Sign, where they do this big fuck off ceremony where they cover themselves in bear blood and set up pyres and all sorts of crazy shit. And the Earth Sign do show up, and they're fucking cool as shit. They show up with a bunch of monsters. They are part bear and part elk, and one of them's got a child's head in its mouth that also opens its mouth and spews ichor. It's fucking cool. The Earth Sign show up, and they kind of have this standoff where they kind of describe it as like the avatar of the Volibear is there speaking to her and trying to be like, why have you summoned me? And Sejuani is like, help me fuck this city up. And essentially what's going on is that the Volibear is trying to kind of indoctrinate, if you will, Sejuani and the Winter's Claw to get them to just kind of fall under his sort of like thrall or violence spell. I don't know how else to describe it. Udyr kind of breaks free of this sort of trance that he's in and manages to kind of stop that from happening. They do end up getting the Earth Sign to help them destroy this city, and they don't, when they destroy it, they just completely destroy it. They slaughter everyone, they kill everyone. They don't take anyone as like thralls, aka slaves, or anything. They only are just complete desolation. And Udyr kind of leaves knowing that eventually he'll have to fight the Volibear. And for Sejuani's part, it seems like she is kind of snapped out of this trance at some point and kind of realizes, oh, I almost committed to like completely devoting myself and the Winter's Claw to the Volibear, in which case I guess they would just become like Earth Sign. I don't know exactly how that works. Like I said, mostly Udyr. Sejuani's in there a bit. I guess the other big thing is that Udyr and Sejuani, this is a huge retcon obviously, seem to have had a mentor-mentee relationship at some point where Udyr is almost like he views himself at least like a father figure to her, kind of, or at least is protective of her in that way. So obviously not in the bio, but he got a reward.
Yeah, I read the Udyr bio a bit, just to kind of figure out exactly what that connection was. But I guess like he, her grandmother found him kind of wandering around and took them in and trained him while she was training Kakia. So he was around Sejuani like through their childhood and everything like that. But then he, a feral dog came by and he went feral because he just kind of like inhibits the feelings of the animals around him. And then he like, I think he mauled a child. He may have even killed a kid or something. But he was
right.
banished. But then when Kakia came back, she was like, I unbanish you because we're still tight. So then he was with the tribe from that point on. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's really cool. I wish I had more to say about it because I really liked this story. The descriptions of everything, especially the Earth Sign, are fucking killer. Like I said, it's like at first come the men, and then come the bears, and then come the monsters, and it's like these things that are kind of bears, and they're like the avatar of the volibear is like half its face is missing, and it's dripping this like black ooze, and you can see its muscle, and it's like got all these eyes on it. It's fucking sick, can I just say.
It sounds like, honestly, the description they gave of it makes it sound like the Coven volibear skin.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Well, and actually, on the universe page for the story, they actually have that in the background. They have that.
Dude,
It's the bear with the elk skull.
Yeah, I think this is actually canonically what that maybe Avatar, or I don't know, or maybe just maybe not volibear like the true form of it, but like it's more corporeal incarnation of that god is on the Freljord. I don't know. It's fucking dope, can I just say. And I can't get over how cool the fucking Ursine are.
Yeah.
I love them as like a weird villain. I love their, like I said, this sort of indoctrination, emotional contagion thing they've got going on, whereas like if you spend time around them, you fight with them, it just causes you to kind of enter into this raw sort of aggression, bloodlust thing, and you might just get lost. You get lost in the sauce, right? When you're fucking around with the Ursine, you know?
Sure.
It's fucking dope.
It is very cool. Yeah, I had a few notes on this one. One, okay, so count. I started my count here. She has thousands of warriors in this story, which also begs the question, like you mentioned, how big a town does the Freljord even have that you would need Ursine help if you already have thousands of warriors? Like, I don't even think we've encountered a Freljordian town this big ever.
No.
Maybe in the south, I don't know.
But yeah, like it must have been fucking massive. Also, I'm going to read, I know this is Sejuani, I'm going to read the description of Udyr because it was so cool. Like, as Udyr approached, drool slithered down his long jaws and his teeth gnashed with bottomless hunger. The feeling seemed his own before he spotted a wolfhound trotting past. He snarled at the dog, struggling to regain control of his own jaw and rid himself of the animal's invading consciousness. Which, like, I had no idea that was how Udyr shit worked, but that's cool as hell.
It's so cool.
I mean, not for him. It sucks for him, but it's really cool
What
for
a
us.
life.
It's fucking cool, man.
Also, you mentioned all the shit they had to do to summon volibear. So they have to use a shit ton of dry wood, which is already a
big
commodity
deal.
there.
Yeah.
Specifically placed in the shape of interlocking triangles of death, which they then need to surround the fires with ancient iron staked forge with the Ursine symbols in it, and heap piles of weapons and bones like kindling. Also probably a huge resource drain. They need those fucking weapons. And then oath singers need to be covered in bear blood and then slash across their own chests with a massive bear claw. And then a fucking 10-year-old needs to come out wearing that fucking crow shawl and make a haunting noise like a wind crying in a storm that's so unsettling that even Sejuani's like, nah, fuck this. Like, all to
That's-
just talk to the Ursine, like...
The Ursine don't need the kid doing that, but they're like, how
that's just
funny
fun.
would that be?
Right. Like, have y'all never heard of cell phones? Come on.
It's like a rider in their contract. And also the M&Ms need to only be green. And... Man. That shit is so fucking cool, though. I think they talk about how the pattern of, like, the stakes, I think it is done in the same, like, Death Knot pattern that we'll talk about from the story called the Death Knot, which is a nice looping in of everything. It's so cool. I can't get over how cool all this whole story is. I can't get past it. It's just so fucking cool. I think the Ursine are probably the coolest thing in Runeterra at the moment for me, and that I'm thinking about it.
Damn, all right.
But Vex is there.
It's true.
She's cool in a different way.
She's so
Ezreal's
cool.
kind of cool. Oh, okay, never mind.
I
I'm
did
talking about
kind of
Vex.
chuckle a little bit when the Ursine first came out because it said the first of the Ursine slipped out from between the black forest trees without a sound. And I'm just kind of imagining a bunch of Ursine just like hiding behind trees, giggling, waiting for Sejuani to pop out so they could like, ooh!
like they're dealing with babies.
That would get me.
Yeah.
yeah, most of my shit was just like how cool this is and how I can't wait to get to Udyr. Yeah, most of what we see in Sedge is her ignoring her council, Udyr, almost sacrificing her entire army to the Ursine, then destroying a city and killing everyone in it that she was hoping to recruit people from, which, for the record, is precisely what Udyr said would happen if she asked the Ursine for help. And also, I think through this fight, it looks like she made Volibear a ton stronger and got him a lot closer to fully reviving, whatever that means. Hopefully we'll get to that in the use. So sweet, nice work, Sejuani. You're doing a bang-up job. And you've got thousands of warriors now. We're going to see how much warriors you have in the next fight to see how good a Warmother you are.
Yeah, I guess at the very least, I do like the conversation between her and Udyr, where she is kind of explaining her reasoning, and it's an understandable perspective, which is that like it does sound like they're kind of on the brink of, like I said, starvation. They've have families and dying and things, and she's not going to let more die under her command. So she's making a decision, right? She's being decisive, an executive decision, maybe not the best one, but. That's Sejuani, right? Is that
she is making choices.
Man,
she makes
must be
choices.
rough watching a kid die.
Well, maybe she's becoming less hard in her years. I don't know. Or maybe it's just because they're Winter's Claw kids, and that's the difference, right?
Technically, the other ones were too.
Well, yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
Nah, they were allied. There's the difference. I don't know why, but there is.
They were a Winter's Maw. They don't give a shit about those guys.
His maw. No, I can't think of a joke.
Oh, damn. Guess we gotta move on.
To a Death Knot.
A Death
By
Knot.
also Odin Austin Schaefer.
This is one of my favorite Slipknot cover bands. A Death Knot. This is her color story. They're trying to cross a river. The Demacians are there. They're causing fucking problems. They want to cross a river, and they kind of can't because they're in a really bad position. It seems like they've almost kind of been lured into a trap. I like Sejuani in some ways, but it does seem like she's not, like she ends up in bad tactical situations a lot of the time. And this is one of those.
It doesn't seem like she's ever been in a situation where she's need to use a lot of tactics to win fights. Like, and then she loses a lot of fights that need tactics.
I'm still open to this because I still think there's still good in Sejuani, and I think that you could kind of use these as learning moments, teachable moments, right? To reinforce, like, hey, you can do things better, and maybe it will result in a better result for you and your people.
Actually, I will say, okay, so maybe it's not that she doesn't use tactics. She's inconsistent in her use of tactics. She consistently does some smart things interspersed with dumb things that undo all the smart things she does. And she does it a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a fair it makes me, yeah, I think you're right. Don't get me wrong. I was going to talk about something else, but I don't think it's accurate. Anyway, they got to cross this river. There's a bunch of Demacian archers, and Sejuani commits to crossing this river by tying in her hair the titular death knot, which I guess is where you tie something into your hair, and it kind of is like signaling to your folks, your tribe, that I'm going to do whatever it is I said I'm going to do, or I'm going to die. Right? I'm going to commit myself fully to it. And so she commits to crossing this river and I guess establishing a beachhead for them. And she uses her true ice flail to create ice across this river. Well, she does it twice. The first time it just gets completely swept away. The second time it seems to hold firm, and she starts charging across it with Bristle, and then it falls apart while she's halfway across it. And she's peppered with arrows, and it's messy and whatever, but they do make it across, and they start fighting. And I think it kind of opens the way for others to get across on rafts that they're building. And she's sort of like, I might die today, I might not, but they got across, and they'll be able to win the day, and that's what's important. Is kind of the end of it.
Yeah. I feel like I get less and less impressed with True Ice every time we have a story about it.
I don't know what happened to the True Ice.
Like, at first I was like, damn, True Ice pretty cool. Unmelting, badass ice. Then we got to Sejuani and we were like, or Lysandra rather, we were like, okay, it will melt over time, but, it's got pretty severe, evil influence that's involved in that. And then we do Ornn, and you're like, okay, well...
Ornn can melt the
It
True
looks
Ice.
like, just being near Ornn also makes True Ice not work. And now we're just finding out that warm water makes True Ice not work?
I mean,
Come on, True Ice.
Technically speaking, the bridge wasn't True Ice. The weapon didn't melt. Yeah. I mean, the idea of, like, being able to hit a river with your fucking flail and it creates a bridge of ice is cool in and of itself. But the fact that it falls apart immediately is, like, less cool.
Right.
That shit's not as dope.
I'm glad that we had this story, actually, because going into this episode, I was literally thinking to myself, like, a bunch of people in Freljord have, like, pretty cool powers and shit, but, like, I do wonder how well they would fare if they left the Freljord. Like, how well do their tactics work outside of the Freljord? How well does their shit work outside the Freljord? So I was glad we got this. Be like, oh, okay, yeah, they're fucking useless.
Sejuani in particular. It's like, it's not warm, by the way. It's just like slightly springy, and Sejuani's like barely mobile.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this fucking heat. Oh. It's like you Yankees, like, when it's like 85
degrees.
and it's like, oh, it's so hot, man.
It is hot when it's 85, Mark. Shut up.
Yeah, centigrade maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But,
now, in this story, she's traveling with hundreds of warriors. Now, in fairness, it did say that she did leave the bulk of her forces behind somewhere. But,
No,
They're skirmishers.
no, it's fine.
Advanced
we don't
forces.
know how big that bulk is.
You can't always bring all like 3,000 people with you. Sometimes you gotta have.
Maybe
a
the
small
bulk
group.
is just another 300. That's canon. We're down to 500 people.
No, it's not.
Scouting party, right?
Yeah.
The screening troops. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually put a rating system here. So, all right. So the ability to wield super powerful weapons, ice weapons, and survive in cold temperatures while fighting in the heat, on a scale of usefulness ranging from Akshon's shirt to Rel's armor. I'm going to give it as a solid Leona's armored high heels from the call.
You've completely lost me, but I do like the system that you're crafting here.
That was good.
I do like the description of when she actually picks up her weapon, how she has to have put a little thing in her mouth to bite on because it just hurts so. I think in the other story too, there's about ice kind of just seems to run up her veins under the skin almost a little bit.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
She gets immediate frostbite in Dead of Winter just by grabbing
I mean that's
it for
when she
a
actually
second.
touches the thing. Yeah. And you know what else I like? I like the moment where they're crossing the river, the bridge breaks, and Bristle is trying to get across and is getting hit with arrows repeatedly. And Sejuani at one point kind of forgoes whatever the fuck she's trying to do and just throws herself and her shield across Bristle to try and protect him. And I liked that little moment, that she actually cares about Bristle and wants to
we get very little Bristle for how important he is in her gameplay. I feel like
That's true. That's really true, honestly.
And what we do get seems wildly inconsistent.
It
I have some notes
does.
about this in Dead of Winter that I'll get into a bit more. But yeah,
it's certainly no Kled-Scarl relationship kind of thing.
it's true. There's no cinematic featured around the love between the two of them.
Yeah.
This story must have been, for the record, when she still had a shield. And
Oh, damn.
she got rid of that shit.
It's a good point.
Forgot about
Frankly, it's not in character for her to have a shield anyway. Now that I think about it. She doesn't defend, she attacks. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Anything else for this one? You want to go to the last
biggin?
one? The biggin? Yeah, Dead of Winter by Graham McNeil.
Did you have any thoughts, Randy? Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry if you got anything else on it.
No, I didn't actually have a whole lot on this one. I just thought the relationship with her and Bristle was pretty cool. How she would defend Bristle, and then also, was it this story? Oh no, it was a note I had for Silence for the Damned. Okay, I just thought it was cool in Silence for the Damned how she was like even doing all the nitty gritty work, like helping put up yurts and burying someone's daughter with them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought,
yeah, that had Darius vibes.
Yeah,
John, you compared her to Darius a little.
I thought that was pretty.
I'll take credit.
Gives her some good character.
How's Mark? But
oh damn it! Sorry.
Yeah, I like I said, there are things about her I really like, and that's a big part of it. You know, is it someone who's not? I don't know. She does seem to have a very genuine care for like the people she leads. You know, and that's a very sympathetic trait. I just wish she was leading them to do shit other than like fucking destroying whole. Like when they destroy that city, by the way, in the what's the name of it? The Ursine one that we were talking about.
Damned.
Yeah, the damned one. They're like the only survivors the Uders see are like these guards who are like backed up against this burning watchtower, and they just push them into the fucking fire. Like it's kind of fucked. I don't know.
To be fair, if I remember correctly, that was entirely the Ursine. Like I'm pretty sure.
I think you might be right.
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure in the story it does say that like the Ursine took first charge, and then Winter's Claw just kind of like came in. But yeah, it was pretty wild reading the part about how there's one of the Ursine with two axes just wailing on a corpse.
Right?
Yeah. Mindlessly, I think it says.
Yeah.
And then like the Volibear avatar thing, whatever that is like busy doing the Vlad the Impaler shit. It's like taking dead bodies and impaling them in some sort of unknowable eldritch pattern.
Yeah, around
like, shit.
Cool as
Ursine
hell.
are cool. Let me just hammer that home. All right. Dead of Winter.
All right. Dead of Winter.
Graham McNeil. We talked about a bit about it with Olaf. For Sejuani's part, they are they're hunting a big mammoth because it's going to be a bad winter and they need the food. They're hunting this mammoth. Sejuani's kind of leading the hunt. They start fighting it. They do manage to kill it. Sejuani at one point. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm dying. Sejuani has to kind of grab a hold of the shard of true ice, and it seems to like completely frostbite her hand entirely, which is pretty fucking cool. Stab it into this mammoth, and at the last moment, the mammoth gives the big, fuck you, and hops off a cliff. So they don't get any food, is kind of the end of it. And then the seer guy, whose name starts with a U, but I don't have it in the notes on this one, Urkath? Is that right? What's the guy's name?
Urkath, I think, is her the guy from the original story who's still with them in like the hunting party.
Yeah, he's here. He's in the hunting party. He bites it. He gets killed. And they have to head back with no food. And so it's a big fucking problem because her and her hundreds, will we say, that are left of the Winter's Claw.
Sounds like.
It's going to be a bad winter, and they already don't really have enough food. And they're trying to figure out what to do. And some people want to do one thing, and some people want to do the other. And Sejuani kind of tries to take charge and, like, I'll give you an answer in the morning. She needs to sleep on it. And she's trying to figure out what to do. And there is this vagabond, I don't know, seer, legless, blind guy called Creek. I think we talked about him with Orn. Did Creek come out? Yeah.
Creek shows up at a lot of places.
Creek, never dead Creek. Who I think it even says she's like, no one feed this guy, no one help this motherfucker, you leave him. But for some reason, he's still around and he's not dead. And he's telling her, well, the reason I'm not dead and the reason, I haven't eaten any food, no one's given me anything, is because I ate from Orn's soup pot. And if you eat from Orn's soup pot, it will keep you fed for a year, a turning of the seasons. And she's like, that's bullshit. And he's like, well, look at this belly. And lo and behold, it's a soft, jiggly belly.
Just pulls up his shirt.
Whereas, her and the rest of her tribe are completely emaciated because they're starving. And so she, facing all the options, commits to, we're going to go up that fucking mountain and we're going to get the soup pot because it's been taken by Volibear and the Earth Sign. And most people probably won't be on board, but Olaf, who's kind of kicking around in this story, is super on board because he'll probably die doing it. And that's what they commit to, and then that leads directly into the call.
Now, first things first, my Bristle notes. At various points in these stories, Bristle has been described as being big as a mammoth, broad as a mammoth, big ol' boy. But there's a decided lack of this big as a mammoth. Drew Vask 1v1ing this mammoth. In fact, she specifically says, this is not a fight for tusks, but for spears and bows. Because Bristle wants to go in on that shit. And like, but why is it a fight for spears? I feel like Bristle could probably fucking handle this better than y'all do. Yeah. And on that same note, what is it? Olaf also, let's see. Oh yeah. Okay, here's a description of Olaf. Even on foot, he was easily the biggest Freljordian she had ever seen. The equal of the mounted Sejuani and Urkoff in height, which implies that Olaf is also as big as a mammoth. So where the fuck is the Olaf 1v1?
He's just a fucking 4 stories tall. Okay.
I love this.
Okay.
We can measure time and distance by the size of this fucking Drew Vask. Yeah.
So great. They're all just as big as Cho'Gath. Like, imagine Udyr is just as big as, like, full stacks Cho'Gath.
He gets that big in the other story.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Why compare?
You know, it is
Why compare boar size notes? Who needs continuity? Am I right?
I tell you.
We can say he's as big as a mammoth. He's never going to go up against a mammoth, right? You don't have to worry about that.
Oh man.
So one of the descriptions they gave of Sejuani here too, calling back to the Silence for the Damned, is that images flashed in her mind, sharp, bright, and painfully real. Memories that weren't hers, sensations she hadn't felt, woven together as though she'd lived them only moments ago, fangs and claws ripping flesh from bone, elongated skulls with cold blue fire burning in empty eye sockets, a packed and a living city reduced to blackened skeletons of stone and timber, slaughtered corpses hung from the withered branches of death-nourished trees. Which, first of all, is pretty badass, but second of all, like, those aren't, those aren't memories that aren't yours, like, that happened.
I kind of wondered.
Those are your memories.
When I first read it, I was like, is this supposed to be like have happened before that other story? But I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. And I think there's another moment like that where I think it's when maybe she's talking to Creek. I don't know, where she gets that kind of bloodlust for a second and talks about her makes her want to like suck the marrow from bones and shit like that.
I'm really curious if part of the corruption is like maybe she doesn't know that whole fight took place.
That would be
possible.
That would be really interesting, frankly. That's a very interesting idea. Yeah, I don't know. I really like there's a lasting...
Just another cool power of Udyr, or bull bears, I guess.
They're fucking cool, man. But yeah, I really like that there are these kind of lasting impacts of that other story in here. And I would like to see that get more play in more Sejuani stuff and see her have to kind of grapple with that. And maybe that's like how she could kind of like I said, finally take a more heroic turn would be like kind of confronting and conquering some of that, and like maybe it's found such a place in her because she has that seed of like just deep-seated being pissed off at her mom, just at the core of her or something like that. I don't know. I guess I like seeing like lasting effects from stories because in legal lore so often it's just like they exist in an ether.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one detail about this too that I liked that connected the others is she's doing the same shit that Udyr did in Silence for the Damned to keep the animal voices out, like stabbing herself with a nail.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it would make sense if he was her kind of mentor to a degree. Maybe he kind of taught her that little trick. This one trick will keep you from turning into a fucking bear
Ursine
monster.
hater.
Stab yourself. It's that simple.
So here's a little bit more of Sejuani being strategic and then throwing it all away for no fucking good reason.
Nice.
So they're hunting this mammoth pretty strategically. Like, you know, they're not rushing things. They're doing the stab in, get out, you know, twist, bleed it out a little bit. So at this point, it is on its knees. It's very close to death. So what Sejuani does is say, get up. You are king of the Freljord. You don't die on your knees. Which seems a little out of character, because she gave a whole speech to Ash in the comic about how you couldn't afford to have honor as a Warmother. You have to lie and cheat and murder. And now she's going to let this mammoth, which is enough food to feed her whole tribe, presumably, back onto its feet, where it can potentially kill more of her warriors, as we see, or just kind of fucking get away, instead of just murdering it. And then, what's even worse, is it gets on its knees and charges, and you know what this bitch does? She fucking smacks it in the back of the knee.
Yeah.
Like, get back down.
I remember this from the Olaf episode. Yeah.
I do
The
too,
fuck?
yeah.
And even then, right, even after all of that, they've got it dead to rights, and they take the moment to, like, give it, like, she gives it some speech, like, oh, you died well, or whatever, I don't know, honor it. It's like, fuck you, I'm going over the cliff. You're not going to eat me, bitch.
You know what? What a mood. I would have done it too.
And then she has the fucking gall to say this. A successful hunt has little to do with glory or honor. Like, what the fuck?
They're very successful. They killed it, John. How much more success do you want?
They didn't.
Maybe
It killed it. They just hurt it and pissed it off.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I like your next note.
Oh. I was putting notes as I read along, and
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
figured.
"Oh, it's nice to see Urkat's back." Then I've got to, oh, well, it was nice to see Urkat's back.
Fuck me.
Ugh. Interesting thing about Kriak here too that I have. When she sees him, she kind of like grabs her knife and is like, who the fuck is this guy? And then she's giving him all this shit about being blind, and he's like, yeah, I may be blind, but like I see shit that matters. And then he specifically says, I've seen shit that would make you gouge your own eyes out with that knife you're holding.
Because he saw some cool Ursine shit, man.
I mean, but how does he see her holding the knife?
It's because
Possibly.
he says that he sees things even
He
still,
sees
right?
things, John.
Yeah.
Also, why was Sejuani making fun of this man for his disability?
Because she's Winter's Claw, and
'Cause it's
disabilities are
weakness.
things that you kill people for.
They're not terribly
horrible.
handy-capable.
And being a
I will say.
child
God,
is
I-
a disability.
I didn't realize she was into eugenics. Jesus.
I mean, that's what I'm saying is that she is a villain. Let's not lose her. Let's not
She
get
is.
it twisted.
You're right.
You know?
It's hard because there's so many villains in the Freljord, and I feel like Ash is the only one just clinging on, just doing her best.
Everybody just be nice.
Like a handful of her friends. Oh God.
Now, it's very interesting. So I'll get onto this a little bit more because I have the list of the things she's mentioned in. Because as I mentioned, I read through the Udyr bio just to kind of see where Sejuani fit into all this. Very interesting Ash tidbit of information.
Oh no, is she a villain too?
And Ash
We'll
kicks
get it.
puppies.
Well,
That's honestly not that bad compared to a lot of other people. People are
We'll take
showing
it.
up to parties with children's heads on stakes. Like, come on, man. Kicking
Come on,
puppies.
man. We told you to bring the drinks. Everyone's bringing children's heads on stakes.
and no one brought cups.
No.
everyone with the kid bobs.
Not a blatant
Oh, that's
sight.
pretty good. So I think we talked about it a little bit before, but like I said, she got a couple hundred followers here, maybe. the Winter's Claw is like as big or as little as the writers kind of need it to be in the moment, right? Like,
Yeah.
There's
Whatever.
always enough for whatever they need it to do, and that's it, and no
Yeah.
more.
which is like, you know, with Ash, I know it's been a long ass time. I don't know what's going on with the Everosen so specifically, but like, the thing with Sejuani is that all of her stories so heavily rely on like, here is the situation with the Winter's Claw. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but like, it really seems to vary a lot, and I would like a little bit more of a through line where it's like, you made this decision and it caused this to happen, and that's why now there's only 100 fuckers who are here with you, whereas there were
Yeah,
like thousands before.
It sounds sad, but I honestly find it more interesting that Sejuani is also failing just as badly as her mother and grandmother did as a Warmother. Especially, like, at first it seems to be going really well for her, and then it's not so much now, maybe,
Yeah.
Sedge.
I love that idea a lot, because that relationship with her mother and her grandmother is so integral and central to her character, and I think that's a great idea to put her through those same failings and for her to have to confront that. I like it. I just wish my concern obviously is that the writers are not aware that that's what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't trust
No,
them
I don't think
in that
so.
way.
Only one of the stories is even there. The others are hiding.
That's a fair point.
Shh, they'll find us.
Quiet.
We don't want people to know we've only got 100 people now. Any final Dead of Winter thoughts?
I had not actually read this one because I did not realize it existed.
They hit it well.
No,
They did their
Yeah.
job.
It's very
Fucking
new.
wicked.
It's really good.
I do remember a little bit of it from the Olaf episode because
Nice.
I had, oh god, I don't even remember when I started listening, but I had like binged everything up to Malphite in like 2 weeks. And then I've
Damn,
been
son.
on course since then. But
It does warm my heart a little bit that you know of this story strictly through one of the episodes.
Aw.
That feels nice.
but the art for it, the only thing I could think of when I see the art for it, like the mammoth, is it kind of looks like a Oliphant from Lord of the Rings, just with the four
I can
tusks.
see that.
You're not wrong.
It's their version of it.
And technically,
Yeah, this is good to lead. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, you're good. The Oliphant do technically have 6 tusks because they have the ones coming from the bottom jaw too, but they have the big ones and then the little ones up above that. Exactly like
That's
that.
too many tusks.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they need that
It's an
many.
unwieldy amount of tusks.
Too
Yeah.
many. That's why she said this isn't a fight for tusks, because there's just too fucking many.
There's
going
too
on.
fucking
Too many
many.
tusks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sejuani is also mentioned in a few stories here. We talked about the Berserker, which is the Olaf bio, where we find out that Olaf challenged the Winter's Claw. Sedge sent her warriors to fight him, and he killed all of them in front of her. Until finally she was like, "All right, I guess I should, help my people." So she stepped in, and they fought. She fought him to a standstill, and then gazed at him so hard that he was able to leave his blood haze. And then,
She stared at him so hard.
which is a power she uses again in this in Dead of Winter story.
Yeah.
She does yell at him at least.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey! That's a bad old law.
drop it.
Get off his back.
Puppy.
I see
Hi,
a beer and a dog. Very cute.
Hi, dog.
Yeah. Also, she's obviously in the Frost Archer, which is the Ash bio. Ash stuff. Same thing with the Ice Witch, which is the Lysandra bio. She's in that too. But the Spirit Walker, Udyr bio, we find out that Udyr is helping the Winter's Claw specifically, because of that whole stuff with Sejuani's grandmother taking him in and everything, but also because Ash's unification of the Freljord under one banner is actually harming all of the spirits that live in the Freljord. So like people like the Seal Mother and people like that. Something about the unification that Ash is doing is slowly killing all of them. So he and the other Spirit Walkers are specifically helping the Winter's Claw in an effort to stop the unification.
Okay.
What is it about that's killing him? Unclear.
Right, hasn't figured that out yet. But they need a reason for Udyr to be there that doesn't make him just a big asshole like Olaf. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want to just kill everyone. You know what I mean?
Weird.
That is weird. You know, it's weird too because when you go to the dead of winter, actually, Creek does say to Sejuani, "Hey, there's going to come a moment where like you all have to work together, or you will all die." Right, all of you in the Freljord, which seems to run very contrary to what Udyr seems to be feeling. I don't know.
Yeah,
makes me wonder.
And it makes, the whole void thing's still there. We haven't talked about it because Sejuani's not really wrapped up in the void, but the void is the big bad at the Freljord. It ain't their sign, shockingly.
Yeah.
I would love
Their
that
weird
fight.
blood rituals. Yeah, right? Everyone else just like sits down and hangs out and watches the Ursign in the void.
We're gonna watch that. We're gonna watch that elk with the baby in its mouth go fight Rek'Sai for a little bit. We're gonna chill back here.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I guess we'll talk about it when we get to Udyr because I feel like that's Riot putting a big old pin in that idea. Like, we need something. We don't have it yet. We'll see.
They like gray area. They're like, we can't have, back when it was like Demacia and Noxus and like good guys and bad guys. They're like, now we got to break this up. Everyone's got to be gray now. We can't have Ash just be the good guy in the Freljord. She has to be the good guy whose good stuff is doing bad stuff.
Yeah. There's enough going on in the Freljord. I didn't need that.
Give us heroes. Come on,
Yeah,
Riot.
come on, Riot. Some people
Emilio
are just
can't be
good.
the only hero.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does bring us to the Call cinematic, which is the aftermath of Sejuani's decision to enter the Ursign territory to look for Orin's never-ending coupon for the soup plantation. Which is what I assume that is.
Not super salads? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the soup plantation was good, though. I just like soup, though.
It does not look like this is going well for them so far. Sejuani and Olaf survive, but I didn't see many others from her little war party make it. But, as Sedge would say, less mouths to feed, so maybe it was all by design.
It was a little brutal.
Calculated. Worth.
And then, as we mentioned, the other one that's linked there is Enter the Freljord, which is the cinematic that explains the three tribes, basically. It's kind of like the original thing. It was narrated by Lysandra. It's 9 fucking years old. Real glad this made the cut.
Oh, no, it's not. Ow.
Because that would mean that you were old, right? If this was 9 years old.
I know I'm old, but come on.
Yeah. Yeah. This was almost kind of quaint when you look at it, because like the narration is so bare bones, like, and this is the Winter's Claw, the most violent of the tribes, and these are the Avarosans, the peaceful tribe. It's like, man.
It's like, this is how they quickly spread the word of, hey, we're doing something with the Freljord now.
Right?
Because at the time, they hadn't really.
I mean, this was for like the Howling Abyss like release, right?
Yeah,
like,
it has the theme song and everything.
Yeah, so it's like,
I'm pretty sure actually this whole narration was
That was play when you got into an ARAM,
if
right?
you went to an ARAM and you stood long enough on the altar,
Yes.
that bitch would just go through
She'd
this
just start
entire thing.
talking.
is it even this?
Yeah.
I thought it was a different narration entirely, even where it tells more about like the
Oh, it
Because
might
this
be.
more
is
in
where
detail.
it happened. Like, yeah.
I
This
missed
is
that.
my bridge.
I made it.
I made my bridge, and underneath
but she
there's some
didn't
big
make it.
purple
No,
guys.
she unmade it, if anything.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that's canon Sejuani, y'all. Whew. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot.
Thoughts? Was it everything? Was it everything we hoped it could be? I think I'll go first.
Sure.
I think parts of it shined real bright. Ironically, the parts that shine the brightest were not the Sejuani parts, but still, there was good
Ouch.
storytelling here.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there's, like I said, I've said it a couple times, there's definitely parts of Sejuani that I really like. I guess I don't, it's weird that we have so much, but I kind of want more. I want the Three Sisters tribes thing to kind of like develop more, and I would like to see them to really hone in on some of the good parts of her, and have her kind of go through some changes as a character and some growth, maybe, and kind of come out of it taking I would like her to take a heroic turn. I know she's done a lot of evil shit, and she's kind of like a big warlord who takes your shit, but I feel like there's still good in her. I don't know.
The Ash
And more
Sejuani
Bristle.
friendship, just so sweet.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, Bristle.
get the soup cauldron, feed your people with it, and then share it with Ash.
Oh yeah, she's
you
not
know?
gonna do that shit.
That'll be your hero turn.
A big threat, a big unifying threat, like the void, as if maybe a void event of some kind could happen. I don't know.
If only.
You're speaking crazy talk.
Right?
I just say I feel like it was kind of like not really. I don't know if you could really describe it as run of the mill, but like kind of a typical story of like bad guy who has like good intentions but is still doing some pretty bad shit. But she's like not as bad, I guess, because she actually cares about her own people, like to the point where she is helping people burying their children. I feel like that's but she's still like going to opposing tribes and like, hey, join me or we're going to kill you and all of your kids. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very Noxian of her though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's definitely to further that parallel. It like the Winter's Claw definitely seems like the failed Noxus. Like where Noxus I think is pretty good at like spreading their influence across the world, and like they make tons of enemies everywhere they go, but like they still have successful outposts like all over the world, including fucking Freljord. But it seems like the Winter's Claw, like they try to do that, but then like, she even mentions, I think it was in Dead of Winter actually, they have lots of people that are technically part of the tribe that aren't with them here, but like they'll be lucky if they can ever reunite them all after spring, because who the fuck knows where they are. Like it's easy to lose track of people in the Freljord. Everything's so white there.
I mean, I think that's a really good comparison to make, because like Noxus, good or bad, like they do build things, right? They, in places that they occupy, they do contribute to its growth and it's in the ways that they do. And the Winter's Claw does not build at all, right? They don't develop. They only destroy. And it's interesting, the Dead of Winter, where it's like how armies used to work, where like you would levy everyone and you'd go and do your warring, and then come like planting, like fall and winter, everyone just fucks off and goes back to their homes to like take care of things, and it's like, who can you get back in the next year? Which is an interesting way of dealing with the problems of trying to live in the fucking Freljord. But like, it's like, does that idea even really work, right?
Right.
Like. And maybe
it's
it
like
doesn't. That's what we're seeing. Yeah.
It reminds me so much of, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, The Last of Us, like the TV show, when that guy tries to recruit Ellie to his town, like the cannibal town, and he's like, and she's like, oh, thanks for inviting me to your starving club, but no thanks. Like, what do the Winter's Claw offer anyone who they're conquering? They like roll in, they're like, hey, join us. We're starving. You want in on this?
Don't worry, we're gonna get a soup pot real soon. You want some chowder?
One of these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Randy.
Yeah.
It was awesome to have you here. If people want to find you, or if you want to be found, where can they do that?
So you can find me in the Leaguecast Discord as Sejuani Baby Daddy. I stream on Twitch as Sejuani Baby Daddy. On Facebook, I have not rebranded yet. I am still known as Coinflip Gaming. I think it's Coinflip Gaming. And then my Twitter is Randy Joe and a bunch of numbers, but I mainly just shared shit about music and League.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you around the Discord.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, before we hop into AU shit,
Oh, that's right. She has so much
we
old lore.
got
I was about to
some
look
old
up her
lore to
skins.
talk about here. Now, her bio, she was just a normal, strong tribe lady,
Thank you.
trying to lead her people to a better life by conquering enemies to give the resources to her tribe. However, before she struck out on her campaign to do this, Ash began campaigning for peace in the Freljord. It's like, fuck. I was just about to do war in the Freljord. We've got competing campaign promises now. So Ash joined the League of Legends to demonstrate how the people could be spared violence. So to Sedge, this was a violation of tradition. This was a coward's ruse to hoard the Freljord's precious few resources. So she saw the confidence of her people wane, as it seemed they would never be delivered from their plight. So she decided to truly prove herself as the rightful ruler of the Freljord by defeating Ash completely and unquestionably on the world stage in the League of Legends.
He's just selling her babies now.
Now, I had forgotten how many Journal of Justice articles she was in because she was introduced so far before she was released as a champion.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And a big part of the Journal of Justice very early on was about this Freljordian unification. Like the whole thing with like Ash and Tryndamere being married, that happened in the Journal of Justice, like very early on. So, her first appearance is issue 2. So one of the 3 princesses of... I forgot about this.
Yeah,
whole story.
princesses.
One of the 3 princesses of the Freljord, Movol, the Ice Dervish, was found dead and was succeeded by Lysandra, who took the title the Ice Dervish, again, before she was a champion, too. She immediately swore fealty to Ash, to which Sejuani replied, "It's clear the Ice Dervish has lapsed in judgment and succumbed to the manipulations of the Frost Archer. The united Freljord, the naive Lysandra speaks of, is nothing more than a totalitarian state wherein she kneels at the right hand of the tyrant. So long as I draw in breath, the tribe of the Winter's Claw will never sully its name next to those of such conspirators."
Okay.
Mm.
It's dramatic as hell.
Yeah, she's very dramatic. And then issue 3, the barbarians, led by Tryndamere, pay respects to the dead Movol, and are also seen gallivanting with the Avarosans. What could this mean? Sejuani's absent, but everyone's pretty sure she's planning an attack. Issue 4, the Avarosans and barbarians officially ally. We also find out that the numbers, this was an interesting tidbit, the number of barbarians dwarf those of all 3 Warmother's armies combined.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Some
a lot of
marriage.
fucking barbarians.
Yeah.
And for the second article in a row, the main mention of Sejuani is that she was not available for questioning.
You cannot get a hold of her at all.
She's
Love
not
it.
released yet. She's not ready yet.
Right? We didn't burn our pyres with the Winter's Claw symbols and then have our oath singers spread blood on their body.
And then have a child come out. Or whatever they do.
I assume it's that.
Yeah, I think so.
Issue 5, Freljord is officially accepted into the League as its own city-state. Ash marries Tryndamere to solidify their alliance, and then she offers Sejuani a seat on her council. This gets Sedge out of hiding, just to say, Princess Ash is no more my queen than are the traitors who put her there. Anyone unable to see through this ruse is as much responsible for the perversion of our culture as Ash.
Jesus.
And there's also a mailbag of justice in this one, where some person just writes in concerned Someone's worried that Sedge will seek an alliance with Noxus, since Noxus also hates barbarians, and there'll be a big war. There was no question here. It was mostly like, this seems like something she would do. And then the Journal of Justice author was like, probably does.
I mean, they had it figured out back then. Winter's Claw and Noxus, link up.
Yeah.
Need it or keep
Link
it.
it.
True. Yeah.
You know?
And then issue 7, the Mailbag of Justice. They have a question mostly about whether Tryndamere and Ash love each other, or whether it's strictly political. They mention it is political, but they do want an heir, especially since Sejuani is working so hard against them. I don't know why that would make them want an heir, but that's what they said.
I like the idea that Sejuani is like constantly like cock blocking Tryndamere. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, I like it. And then issue 16, another Mailbag of Justice, where someone asks, just curious, but is Sejuani still hiding? Because this is like nine issues later, we hadn't heard from her still. And the author said, we spoke with members of the Winter's Claw, and they admitted that they have not had contact with Sejuani since the unification either. When asked if they were worried, the tribesmen's general response was, yes, but not for her.
Great. Riot spinning their fucking wheels.
What are they going to do with this? Where's it going to go?
Right?
It's going to lead straight into the Journal of Justice being canceled. And then there's one short story, The Seeker's Tale, which is another Lysandra narration. Actually, this is the one, I think this story, The Seeker's Tale, is the one that used to play in Howling Abyss.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember now. And I do also remember there was a Quinn story, but it also wasn't linked on the wiki, so I didn't read it, but we had read it for Quinn before, where she just kind of goes to all the different tribes of the Freljord.
Yeah, I would really like that story to be canon, because it sets a really neat picture. I guess I don't know what the fuck. I have no idea what the fuck Riot thinks is the current state of the Freljord. I would like them to tell me what it is, because the Winter's Claw could be anything right now. But I do like, because I remember from that the idea was that like Ash technically has a lot of tribes that have allied to her, but they're all spread out, and the Winter's Claw, like, she can't protect them, and the Winter's Claw is actually out there just fucking everyone up. Yeah, which I thought was cool. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's neat.
So.
And we see in like a Death Knot, that's exactly what she wants to fucking, and Silence for the Damned. Like, she's all just like, oh no, we'll just fucking anything Ash related, just fuck them up. Fuck them up. I don't give a shit. Just
yeah,
get them.
Here, she talked bad about my grandmama.
You know, that Seeker's narration thing makes me think of the fact that the original Three Sisters, the whole like Serilda, right, is supposed to be the one that Sejuani is maybe like an incarnation or whatever of, does not get mentioned at all. The name Serilda does not show up in her lore at all. I just now realized.
That's
the
true.
OG sister that she is kind of the analogy
for as big a thing as like Avarosa is in Ash's lore. Yeah, it is weird that they don't fucking mention it once in Sedge's lore.
I'm almost kind of into that, because like with Ash and Avarosa, that was kind of the whole thrust, is that the way she has power politically is that she is like, yes, I'm Avarosa reincarnated, even though she doesn't really believe it. So I'm fine with that being her shtick, and that Sejuani doesn't interact with that at all. It's like, no, I'm not Serilda. I'm Sejuani, motherfucker. I'm here for soup. So.
Yeah, that's the old shit. She has one quote that I wrote down here. I will not hide behind another shield, which is probably a reference to the fact that her visual update replaced her shield with the Seeker's arm guard, which used to be Lysandra's. All right, AU time, and there's a lot of them. Sorry, y'all. All right, first up we got Deathsworn. Eager to claim more souls for the underworld, Death sends the souls of fallen warriors as Deathsworn back to the mortal plane. It's tough to say. Deathsworn. Where they serve their masters terrible bidding with relish. Not like the food, like with enthusiasm, but maybe the food. I don't know. This one's Dark Rider Sejuani. Every army of the dead needs its cavalry, from atop the reanimated hulk of a savage Druvask. Sejuani leads hosts of cruel lost souls, hell-bent on shaping the world in death's image.
I've ever seen this one. I've seen so little of Sejuani skins.
And she
I'm
has
looking at
so
them.
many of them.
I know.
Yeah. I think that's because you just use the bear cavalry one, and that's the
That's
only one
true.
that ever gets played.
Yeah.
Which, that one's up next. Wonder of the World. Individuals hailing from the far-flung universe of Earth, where giant statues come to life and everyone is wearing a fun hat. It's a lot like Runeterra if you think about it. This one's Bear Cavalry Sejuani.
Okay.
Sejuani's taken to battle on an armored one-eyed warbear, the size of a shed, while swinging a landmine on a chain, wearing a delightfully vintage Red Star hat. Good luck out there.
See, honest, I can get behind. Size of a shed. That's more reasonable to me
Yep.
than a mammoth.
Yeah, especially since, like, you know, there's a lot of different size sheds. You can
true.
tweak that as needed.
It's true. It's really true.
Fun fact about this one, this was released in celebration of the Russian server's launch. So those who transferred or created an account on day one unlocked her for free.
Oh, man. Dope.
Next up, we got prehistoric hunters.
I've not seen this.
Gargantuan monsters roam our land, stalking their prey with frightening precision. Humans would surely become their next meals if not for the hunters. Armed with blades crafted from the bones of their first kills, with instincts that rival the most fearsome of beasts, the hunters protect their people each day from a grisly fate. And we've got a little interesting thing here where there are actually 2 Sejuani skins that fall within this
Oh, really?
skin line. First up is Sabertusk Sejuani, which has no specific lore.
This must be an old one, huh?
Yeah, it's very old. But then we've got Beast Hunter
yeah.
Sejuani. A beast tamer as well as hunter, Sejuani rides her trusty mount Bristle into the thick of combat before snaring massive creatures in the chain of her flail. An almost supernaturally strong woman, she can temporarily hold down beasts weighing several tons, which is exactly the window her fellow hunters need.
Cool.
And there's a short story associated with this, which is kind of a funny, like, journal entry style story, told from the perspective of a dude who was, like, hunting a monster, but then the monster killed fucking everyone in his party. And he was like, I'm going to get vengeance on this guy. So he's, like, stalking it for weeks. And then before he gets vengeance, Sedge Draven and Trint just, like, pop out real quick, murder it, and, like, move on to the next one like it's fucking nothing.
That's pretty funny.
That's good. And then we got Project. Among the mega structures and packed streets of future controlled by global corporations, a shadow war rages between rebellious augmented humans and newly empowered artificial beings. The winners will shape the course of history, and the losers will be forced to evolve. This one's Project Sejuani, the leader of a more radicalized sect of the genetic rebels. Sejuani broke off from Ash's movement when their resistance action failed to turn explicitly violent. Resurfacing amid program's takeover of the city, she rides a piece of reclaimed pre-collapse technology alongside her ferocious cohort, ready to put down this new threat before it takes root. Yeah,
All right.
I like that. Like, Ash is also rebelling, but it's not quite violent enough for me, so, like, I'm gonna do my own thing.
I mean, that's just basically Sejuani.
Right? Sejuani, but she's cyberpunk. I love it.
Then we have Rift Quest. Danger lurks in the land of Runeterra. Powerful monsters, dastardly sorcerers, and mythical creatures roam unchecked. Gather your friends and create your own adventure for 3 to 5 players, vanquishing evil with each roll of the die. Do you have what it takes to save the world and become a legend of Rift Quest? This one is Sejuani Dawnchaser, who plays a Beast Rider. Riding her dire lion into the thick of combat, Sejuani Dawnchaser is an intimidating foe for all but the greatest Rift Quest threats. Sadly, not the most careful role player, she's on her 4th dire lion this campaign. Now there's a short story with her in it called Attack of the Demon Poros, where I think she's actually the DM in this one. So, in the back of a dimly lit tavern, a 20-sided die soars across a wooden table. As the die lands, 4 figures lean in to examine the results of the roll. Sejuani. Ah, a bad roll. The path is blocked, and a horde of demon poros attacks our party. Can we survive this onslaught of hellish beasts, or will we succumb to their furious might? Jace. Not a problem. I drop an acceleration gate and blast them with a hypercharge. Our future will be bright. Sejuani. Oh, come on, man. Try to stay in character. We've talked about this already. Bard. Beep, 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 beep. That's going to be my Bard impression, because I can't do chime noises.
Sure.
What,
more.
what did it just say? Karthus. It wishes to know if the last part should be included in the song it is composing about our adventures. Beep, bop, 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 bop. It also wishes to tell you that demon poros are too scary. And could we change to candy poros instead? Ugh, okay, I guess. Bard, raise your quill and bear witness. Let us commence battle with the savage... Candy poros. I know how to handle these creatures. No, please, Chase, don't. I drop an acceleration gate and blast them with a hypercharge. Face the future. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Do not put any of this on the song. Boop, boop. It says... I don't care what it says. You know what? Fuck this. Rocks fall. Everyone dies. I'm going home. Boo, boo.
Does she actually say
Bart is
fuck this?
powered down.
She doesn't. I just kind of improvised that off the dome.
You
like that?
that little...
Like that little bit of flair.
That's what her character would say.
Yeah.
That's what my guy would do.
Whose line is it anyway? Here I come.
That was all of John's training at the Upright Citizens Brigade, everybody. Fuck this.
Next up we got Eclipse. Long ago, an order of monastic knights slew the vile gods of the old world using esoteric powers granted by the moon and sun. Now the world has grown dark and violent as those selfsame deities prepare their return, challenged only by the light of the eclipse. This one is Solar Eclipse Sejuani. A knight of the eclipse who patrols the borders of the Elderwood on a great beast, grim and wild at heart, Sejuani lives for battle with the forces of the old gods, caring not for the reason why.
Okay, shit.
Yeah. Then we got Snowdown Showdown. Within the magical Winterlands, the Poro King reigns supreme, spreading joy and merriment to all his court. Even as others work to usurp the king, all share a common love for winter's wonders. This one's Poro Rider Sejuani.
So cute.
Stranded as a child in the Poro King's enchanted Winterlands, Sejuani was taken in by the Poros and raised as their own. She's now one of the greatest champions, riding a slobbery, snack-obsessed war Poro against any who would threaten her adoptive home. And I do want to learn more about war Poros, and if there are more of them.
Can I get one? How much are they?
All my money. I will say in Runeterra, she seems to fucking love Poros. All the quotes against Poro cards are that she's just ecstatic to see them.
I love that
cute.
for her. Yeah.
Do you think a group of war Poros is still called a fluffed? Or do they get a different name?
It's called a tuft.
A tuft. Yeah.
Oh, I fucking love it. Turning my fluffed into tuft.
That was good. Off the top, that was real fucking good.
Thanks. See, I can be funny too, guys. That was my one joke for the night.
It was perfect.
Thank you.
You dropped it at exactly the right time. Fucking got in there and nailed it. It sounded more sexual than I intended. I was really just trying to be support.
That's all. Your support is always a little bit more sexual than you intended to sound.
Then we got Lunar Revel Firecracker. The Lunar New Year has arrived, and so has the party! Woo! With food and festivities to spare, it's all about ringing it in with friends and family. Now strike up a match and watch the fireworks. This one is Firecracker Sejuani. Charging forth on her giant pig, and swinging a whip made from low-grade explosives, Sejuani has firmly cemented herself as the woman to watch this lunar revel, because if you're not watching her, she'll trample you and you'll die.
I love that.
And this one has a cinematic associated with it.
Oh.
Called Fortune Favors the Lucky, where it's this one. The first one's more of kind of a like a skin reveal cinematic with some light animation. But Firecracker Sejuani, Firecracker Vane, Lunar Wraith Silas, and Coin Emperor Tom Kench are celebrating the Year of the Pig by chasing around a little pig and having fun.
Cute.
And then, in the Almost Home cinematic, Diana is reading a book which has Firecracker Sejuani and Lunar Wraith Silas on the cover, kind of like the little romance novel there. It's actually a very cute cinematic. Highly recommend. It was for Lunar Revel this year, I want to say. One of the two.
Yeah, I think last year.
And then we got Hextech. Now at the forefront of science and art, Hextech has evolved from its rudimentary beginnings into a modern renaissance of intricate artificial life forms capable of free will. Skilled artificers lead the medium into a bold new future, but what it will bring, none can say. This one is Hextech Sejuani. A merchant tycoon hailing from the top echelons of Piltovan society, Sejuani paved the way for the manufacturer of Hextech mounts. Often seen atop the back of her trusted steed, Bristle, she surveys the gilded streets of her magnificent city.
No.
Always on the lookout to recruit young innovators who dare to push the boundaries of science and engineering, but not of naming.
That's funny.
Don't encourage them, Mark.
And now, finally, our first one in a while.
Let's go!
Victorious. Champions conquer their enemies and ascend to new heights, achieving their wildest dreams and showing off their hard-earned spoils to any and all who want to look up to true greatness.
I've never seen this, and it's doing something to me.
We haven't seen most of the Victorious skins.
No, I've not. I've seen none of them unless I specifically looked them up because I'm not good enough at League. But it's powerful.
It's powerful.
Powerful woman.
Is she sitting on a throne, legs spread, kind of like she
like she
gave her mom so much shit for?
I think her belly's full of mead.
Probably.
I'll fill her belly with mead.
Victorious Sejuani. After surrendering their strongest warriors and Iceborne to the Winter's Claw, all tribes of the Freljord now bend to the will of Queen Sejuani, clad in the finest gear her kingdom has to offer.
That was a little disappointing. It wasn't quite the runway show.
Yeah.
It was a little vague about the finest gear. I would have liked more description, like, clad in the finest furs from the toughest Druvask and the most opulent, what are they, sapphires, is that?
No, sapphires are blue.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's true. Those are purple. Opals, is that?
John, you gave them to your girlfriend in Stardew Valley every day.
Right. Amethyst.
There you go.
It's the only way I remember colors. It's by relating them to my Stardew Valley relationships.
She ate them.
She did eat them. It's a weird game, y'all.
Whatever works.
Yeah. Those are the skins. I got a handful of fun facts for you, too, if you want to hear them. You want to hear some fun facts? Well, too fucking bet. No, just kidding. I'll read them. Sejuani is voiced by Nikki Burke.
Nice.
And she's referenced in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
How? Why? How?
I would have to read the footnote, which I opened the tab to do and then forgot to do.
Nice.
Dope. Okay.
So someone let us know.
Yeah.
But she's in there. Sejuani is currently the champion with the shortest time between their initial release and a full visual gameplay update at 1 year and 3 months.
God damn, that update was that long ago? I knew it was a long time ago. I don't think I realized how shortly she had been out.
I mean, I'll be honest. I forgot. I completely forgot that even it had happened at first, and then I went back and as part of this, I was like, oh yeah, she used to look like different, and they had this big update. I don't know. Like I said, it's a long time ago.
That 1 year and 3 months was the only brief period in which I attempted to learn jungle. And I remember when now because I tried with Sejuani. It was before they changed her. And then they updated her and I was like, I don't know how to do this. So I gave up and I never played her again.
Oh. Sad history with Sejuani.
Yeah.
She was the first champion released in 2012.
Yeah.
In Sejuani's art spotlight, the artist named the layer that has her boar on it Piggles.
That's adorable.
If Ash, Lysandra, and or Sedge are playing on opposing teams, Battle for the Freljord will trigger. So this is an in-game quest that consists of one killing the other to earn the title of Queen of Freljord, complete with a floating ice crown which floats above their heads.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I ever noticed that.
Sejuani, Corki, Kled, Nunu, Rel, and Rumble are the only mounted champions in League. Sejuani, Karma, Lee Sin, and Trundle are the only champions to have a traditional skin, representing them before their visual updates. Bristle's animations were recycled for the Tuskbeard monster from the Odyssey Extraction game mode back in the day.
Interesting.
Smart.
And finally, we talked about this already, but she wears the Seeker's Arm Guard, which used to belong to Lysandra. In her splash.
A splash.
Slishy splash.
Oh.
And that's Sejuani.
That's Sejuani. Any final thoughts?
I think we'll get to it with Silas, but I think the Winter's Claw is kicking around with him to some degree. Doesn't get any play here whatsoever. So I assume when we get to the end of the S's, we'll find out what's going on with that.
And by then, we'll probably have finished with his game.
I was gonna say.
I wonder if any of that's
maybe
going to be in there.
Maybe they'll touch on it in Mage Seeker.
That would be pretty cool. That would be cool.
All right. Yeah, I would say I felt like I didn't learn too much new here. It's a bit inconsistent, which we talked about.
Yeah.
I would say more inconsistent than a lot of other champions.
Yeah. I definitely. I got that feeling too, and I don't know if I could put my finger specifically on what it was about it that made me feel that way. But like, I definitely, from jumping from like one story to another, I was like, this sometimes feels like a different Sejuani than I just read about, where she's doing something that seems out of character constantly.
She definitely doesn't have a really, really strong, like, solid character that multiple writers can tackle.
Yeah, which it seems like she would, but like, I don't know. There's just small things that they seem to do differently.
It's hard.
From
I think when you have a morally gray character like that, it's really tough because then everyone has a different idea of where they lie within the gray, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of like, I think that's a big part of it, and it kind of is what you had said earlier, John, where they don't want her, I assume at least, to be just a clear villain. They, like you said, they like her to be gray and stuff, but it gets kind of hard when you get to the nitty gritty of what she does, you know, where it's like, it kind of falls to one side here. It makes me think of, I was reading through the Journal of Justice stuff when we were doing in prep, and at one point one of the Winter's Claw people was like, well, if Ash is unifying everyone, why are we fighting anymore? I was like, I feel like that's still kind of a relevant question a bit now.
Yeah.
Like, why are y'all fighting if you can just be Avarosans and be happy? Like, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I get you.
Because with Darius, which we've compared a lot to, there's a much more clear understanding of, like, there's an ideal that he works towards or believes in, and that drives his actions. But with her, it's like, tradition, and, like, this is the way of the Freljord, which is all really wishy-washy, and, like, I don't know.
And Darius is even where we've left him, he's really stumbling on his ideals now.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see him. I would like to see her, questioning more. That's, I think, what I liked about Darius, was like, he believes in Noxus, he believes in all this, he's like their poster child, but he still finds himself having moments of doubt sometimes, and like, you don't necessarily get that in Sejuani, no matter how much she's fucking up and like how much what she's doing is not making things better for her people. It doesn't seem like she ever has a second to think like, I wonder if there's another way. Like, never.
And I think, you know, that could work if eventually she got to that point. Because it's like, Freljord is fucking hard to live in, right? You can't take the time to think, like, second guess, because it's like, you have to make decisions now. Otherwise, everyone just dies due to, like, from, like, analysis paralysis, I assume. That type of shit. But this all feels like a really long form first act for her as a character, and she needs some turning point where she is reflecting on these failures and realizing that she does need to make some changes.
Yeah. I like that description. This is all for first act.
It's just a really long one. Yeah.
Very,
And I don't
very
think we're
long
going to
one.
get a second act, but we can imagine it's
We'll
there.
see. We'll see. I mean, I don't think I think she'll be ignored until whatever void event happens, but we'll see.
Yeah.
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 All right. Well, that was Sejuani. Thank you so much for listening. We have a Twitter. It's at Loreheads. And a Twitch, twitch.tv/Loreheads. We generally stream on Saturdays. John will do some TFT. And then we'll swap to some ARAMs if you ever want to join. However, he has been playing Mage Seeker. He just started the other night. And I assume you're going to stream the whole game, John? Is that what you're planning on to do? Or if you can?
I was actually going to play a bunch of it off stream. It
Okay,
It
never
seems
mind.
very draining to do it all on stream, but I will do.
Sure.
I will probably do more Mage Seeker streams, but
yeah.
we will be doing an episode about Mage Seeker after we
for
finish.
sure.
So
Yeah.
don't worry if you miss it. Also, I'll be posting the replays on
YouTube.
So I mean,
Yeah.
they'll be there. If you can catch it on Twitch, awesome. Join me.
Yeah.
Watch me fail in real time. But we will have a discussion about all the lore shit there because there's a lot actually. There's letters you pick up throughout the game that all have like lore tidbits in them, which that's another reason I kind of want to do some of it off stream. Is when I'm on stream, I can't really take notes on it, and I kind of would like to, but there's a lot of cool shit there.
Cool.
Yeah. Sorry. We have a Discord as well. If you want to join in on some discussions, you can find the link on our Twitter and in the description of this episode. We have a Patreon as well. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda tier patrons: King of Hearts, Shupa Moustache, Chloe Things, and I didn't sort this. Techno Robert, Shupa Moustache, and Big Man Gnomes. You are all.
And I love Mark.
Oh wait, did I miss it? And I love Mark. Sorry, the filtering got me.
the
It got me.
He was trying to get out of saying it. That's all.
And I love Mark. Yeah, if you were all in the Freljord and I was a Warmother, I would make sure you were well fed and I wouldn't murder you for no reason because you weren't part of the Winter's Claw.
Give you all the soup.
You'd have so much fucking soup.
More mommy with soupies.
Mark, if you ever start streaming, that has
That's
to be
your
your
notification
subscriber
noise
noise.
for sure.
Whenever someone subscribes to you. Mommy
All right.
with soupies. All right. Please be sure to join us next week. We are actually going to do a revisit episode. Mostly it's going to be about the Katarina comic.
Yeah.
Which has just come out and all leads up to Mage Seeker. But John also has notes of some other random things that have come out since, we've done their episodes. So
Yeah, so we'll do Katarina and then miscellaneous random shit.
random shit, but mostly Katarina comic, I think.
Cool. I'm excited.
I'm excited. Okay, bye.